Welcome to Urban Facts. My name is Eamon Hotep.
And I'm your co-host, Gabrielle Piker.
And thank you so much for being here with us today. Um, Today we will be looking at a documentary I made 12 years ago called Lillie's Flowers. Um, it's a documentary about two sisters, Shelva Jean Davidson and Ethel Lee Zachary. Excuse me. In their upbringing from down south to Philadelphia. We're not necessarily going to walk through the documentary, but just a review on how the effects that people had, well, namely me and Ambrielle, and why pieces like this are so important. So I came up with this idea from watching Roots. So Alex Haley wrote the book Roots because it was a book before it was a movie. So he wrote the book to validate his family's stories. So Haley's grandmother and other women would tell him stories on hot summer days, and he wanted to validate them. He originally called I'm sorry. He originally called the book the Search. So it was originally supposed to be called The Search. Excuse me. Haley believed the book could help heal a divided nation by recognizing Black Americans' contributions. Haley wanted the book to help a new generation understand the reality of the past, and also he wanted to help connect Black people to Africa and nullify feelings of shame and anger. I mean, there's some other reasons also. So after that, watching that, I realized that my family really didn't have like anything to leave behind that would identify people from our past. So just like you know, I'm sorry. The I was just talking about Mr. Haley. He wrote this book to validate the people that his ancestors, his grandmothers was talking about. So those people back then was Kunta Kinte. If you've seen the movie Roots, in the movie he was called Toby, a name forced on him by slave masters. And we also I also wanted the generations after myself and even after Ambrielle to look back and say, hey, this who Ethel Lee Zachary was. This is who Shelva Jean Davidson was. Or this is who Ambrielle Parker was. Sabrina Booker. Desiree Hutchins. Things like that. So we wouldn't be forgotten. Now we're not a family of famous people. Hopefully one day that will change, and we don't have a lot of things that would connect us to history, besides our own history. So I came up with Lillie's Flowers. So let me see if I could. Well, we'll show you a quick clip of it real fast. So
and now,
hold on. There you go.
Our feature presentation.
Once a lily flower succumbs to its quality of life, It may form seeds which could lead to propagation. After that stage in life comes along beautiful flowers, constructing our future generations.
Now I'm gonna just pause it right there for a second. So that was my niece Talia. Um, I like the way she put that together. She said, let me try to get back to it if I can read it. Oh no, I kind of missed it. So she said once the lily flowers succeeds in life, it promulgates and creates future generations. So what she's saying is that the flower is going to blossom and bud, and other flowers will come from that, from the original flower. So my grandmother's name was Lillie. So we're doing a symbolism of the flower to my grandmother. And then the future generations would be me, Ambrielle, she had kids and then their kids, so on and so forth. And I thought this was important, like I said, so that you can discover, who people are 20 years from now. I obviously I may be, hopefully I'll be here 20 years from now, and Ambrielle will be here 20 years from now. But older folks in my family, like say my brother, he may or may not be here. Like the older folks may not be here. And 20 years from now, people that are babies or infants now, or even toddlers, will be in their 20s. And if these stories aren't held on to, like Mr. Haley did, then nobody will know who Mamie is. Nobody will know who Bonnie is. Nobody will know who Amaya is. Nobody will know who Terrell is. Things like that. So let me, we're going to get back to the documentary.
Bonnie, hurry up, girl. We're going to be late. We have to meet Dot at the party.
Let's go. Had to finish my hair.
Time to party!
She's faced the hardest times you could imagine. Many times her eyes fought back the tears, Lord, Lord. And when her useful world was about to fall in, each time her slender shoulders felt the weight of all the fears, and a sorrow no one hears still rings in midnight silence in her ear. Let her cry, for she's a lady. Let her dream, for she is a child. Let the rain fall down upon her. She's a free and gentle flower growing wild. And if by chance I should hold her, let me hold her for all time. And if I allow just one possession, I would pick her from the garden to be mine. Hey, baby.
Hello, my name is Patrice Booker, and welcome to Lily's Flowers. This is a documentary and a tribute about two beautiful women, Shelva Jean Davidson and Ethel Lee Zachary. It was the late 30s, a year after the Great Depression and World War II. Joe Louis was the people's champ at the time, and the air was filled with music by Ray Charles and Chuck Berry.
ought to bring my body back to me.
My body back to me. On December 19th, 1938, Lillie gave birth to a baby girl, Shelva. This increased her family size to 4, including her oldest son, Philip. Shelva was a joyful baby. On December 21st, 1940, Lillie and Justin gave birth to a second baby girl, Ethel. It wasn't until the late 50s that the family moved from North Carolina to Philadelphia.
Hit the road, Jack. Don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. Hit the road.
So that's the intro there. I felt as though that, like I said, people needed something to remember family members by. And normally that's done with like a family tree or ancestors that'll tell stories of such and such and so and so. But just like Mr. Haley's book, Roots, we all know his family. We all know Chicken George. Well, Chicken George and Kunta Kinte wasn't related, but we know Kizzy, Kunta Kinte, Alex Haley, things like that. We even know Bell. Bell was also one of the family members of Mr. Haley, and he even, had a movie about her. So it's very important that we share the history of our family, and then we know the culture of these people that brought us here. So I'm going to bring Ambrielle back on. She did have the opportunity of, viewing the video. So she's going to give her take on it in regards to what she's seen. Go ahead, Bree. You're on mute.
Okay, so basically, what I would like to say about the video, I think that it was a great representation of what family is basically about, what happened, what like each generation represents, like for like you to know your family. Just because I never really got to know my grandmother, that video of all people telling about who she really was and what she has done for the family, that's something that's so important because I've never really grown up with her. I think she died before I was born, so I really never really got a chance to ever meet her. So the video really was like a second piece of her and her sister Shelva, and it was to show who they really were as a person, not just from pictures and all this other stuff. It was real life experiences of other people to let you know just a deeper meaning of who they were as a person.
Yeah, I felt the same way. Actually, when Ambrielle, when she participated in the video, I think she might have been 2, I believe. I'm not sure. Yeah, she might have been 2, I guess. I'm not sure. Well, 12 take away 15, so that's 3. So I guess 2 going on 3. So, and it did exactly what Ambrielle just said. It brought to light the people. It brought to light people such as my mom and my aunt, so that those individuals could be known by other folks. So we're going to return back to the video, the documentary, and we skipped forward a little bit.
Keep shining, knowing you can always count on me. For sure, that's what friends are for good times and bad times. I'll be on your side forevermore.
pretty fair, decent young girls coming up. We were fresh at times, all of us. But that's okay. That's all in growing up and learning. But Shelby and Bonnie both were always my good friends. And I truly miss them, love them dearly.
Later on, Shelby would meet a young man by the name of Charles Garland Booker. The couple became friends and later fell in love. When Charles returned from the army, their union produced 4 amazing children: Michael Wayne Booker, Desiree Diane Booker, Daryl Thomas Booker, and Sabrina Michelle Booker.
Hi, I'm Sabrina Michelle Booker, daughter of Shelva and Charles Booker. And my mother and dad they were a very happy couple. And I remember being a very happy child when they were together. I just remember them taking us lots of places, to the zoos, out to dinner, drive-in movies, stuff like that. That's what I remember about my mom and dad together.
Shelby and Bonnie were closer sisters. Bonnie would often recommend names for Shelby's children. She named Desiree after the famous 1954 movie by Henry Coster. Desiree, a movie about Desiree Clary and her relationship with Napoleon. Shelby's relationship with her children was very unique.
My relationship with my mom, we had a good relationship. She tried her best with me. She was a good mother. We was friends. We used to go out sometimes, just me and her, to the spaghetti factory. I miss my mom a lot.
My mother was very special. She was a single mom for most of my life. A single parent mom, I should say. She worked hard all her life, all of our lives. She worked. She always had a job for me. I can remember being 5 years old, and my brother and cousin would watch us while my mother went to work after her and my dad had separated. My mom was a sweet person, a good person, a kind person. She would take anybody off the street, her friends, family, whatever. If they needed a place to stay, Shelby would feed them and give them a place to stay.
So that was very true what you said. My aunt would take in anybody from off the street that she felt as though needed refuge or a place to stay. So when I made this organization, the Ethel Lee Zachary Foundation, one of the programs is called Mamie's House, and it's named after her for her charity towards the community. She would feed folks, bring folks in off the street, kids that didn't have anywhere to stay, or they had situations going on with their own parents, things like that. Doing this documentary was tough. Y'all ain't got to worry. I ain't telling nobody secrets or nothing like that. But it taught me that as a family, you can really come together and produce some things. It was maybe almost a year ago, when we thought that, Ambrielle's grandmother was going to lose her life, and her family came together really strong and, unified the collective as a family, and they intervened for their loved one. Miss Vicky is still here today, so it just goes to show that what a family can do when they put their minds and hearts to it. Now, some people didn't participate. If you ever get a chance to see the whole video, you'll notice some people not there. Well, let me kind of walk that back. I would say, yeah, some people didn't participate. Some people didn't speak, but they took pictures or things like that. So you about to say something? So, it was a memorable moment, and we watched this on December 25th, 2012, and the whole family was there. I would say a good part of the family was there. I mean, like 50 copies, so people can have them. It came with a CD. It was a great moment, and I appreciated the fact that people wanted to come out to see it, and it brought us together for that day. And what I didn't know was that on the days of my mom and aunt's death, that they would watch this movie and go over good times and things like that. And that's kind of the purpose that I wanted it to have. So when younger children come along like Sincere and the Lamar's twins, Lamar and Lamir, they can look at this video and they can know who Ethel Lee Zachary was and who Selva Jean Davidson was. Also Lillian Davis, because she was the whole reason why it's called Lily's Flowers. So we're gonna skip a little forward into the movie here. I mean the documentary. Let's see here. Let's see. All right, bet there you go. All right, so we're gonna get back to it.
I thought she was a wonderful person, and we had a very great relationship. She was devoted to family values, and she was trustworthy and dependable. One of the few virtues I find in women, that I've met. And I miss her very much, and during this period I wish I could find somebody half as good as she is. Like that was my second love. My mother was my first. And I miss her still, and it's been years. Fortunately, I'm here with a son that we had, and I can see through her, I can see through him some of the virtues that she had in her. And I can appreciate that substance that developed from the both of us.
Bonnie was a very stylish and upbeat mother, and her children adored her.
Since you've been away, I've been down and lonely. Since you've been away, I've been thinking of you, trying to understand the reason you left me. What were you going through?
My memories of my mom as a youth, from probably like 3 to 5, was real faint, because we lived on Colorado Street. It wasn't until we got to like Tasker Projects that I remember doing like a lot of activities and things with my mom, as far as like us celebrating Christmas, or like doing like family functions and things like that there. She was a very strong-minded person, and she always encouraged me to be a leader opposed to being a follower, you know what I mean, and always have for my own and never, want anything from anybody else. So I took those principles very seriously coming up, and I try to instill those into my children today. So, That was something that my mom taught me. Uh, she did tell me to be a leader opposed to a follower. Never want anything from anyone. Well, not to be needy of anyone else as far as things that you may need. Like if you can't get it, then you just can't get it. It ain't meant to be, you know. And those values are things that I teach to my children. Um, the thing that they have that I didn't is a more supportive village. Like they have people that they can depend on. I'm not saying that I didn't, but they have people that they can depend on. They can actually provide substance, like in their lives. You know, back coming up in the projects, my whole family at that time, probably except for like one person, was dealing with poverty. You know, literally when I would come out of my grandmother's house, it would always be this gigantic thing of water, and it would be like flies and uh, was the little dragonflies. You know, it would just be bugs and everything. You know, around this water. You know, because I guess the ground had dipped, so it had concaved, and you know, the water would just sit there, and it would sit there for months. You know, depending on the weather, and we just kind of got used to it. You know, um, but I never realized that I was even poor at the time because that's just what children were used to. That's what I was used to. You know, we would eat the same thing every day. Well, not every day, but at least about 3 times out of the week. And at that time, certain families had different meals. We had, like I just said, meals 3 times out of the week. So, and you may be asking, what does this have to do with the video? Because it's showing you how people came from a certain era to get to where they are now. Some of these people that lived in Tasker projects didn't have or won't have the opportunity to speak in front of anybody about anything about their family. Now, I'm not saying that I'm better than anybody. Now, I may have better advantages or opportunities than some people, and people obviously have the same thing over me. But I thank God for the way I came up, because if it would have been a different way, I may not be sitting here in front of you today. We all made mistakes. We all had bumps and bruises and things like that, but we all have to learn from those lessons. Um, all my children had to watch Roots. I think at the time, Ambrielle didn't really like kind of understand what was happening. I don't even think she really watched it. Don't worry, your time is coming. Um, it gave them an appreciation of how their culture was from slavery up until, I think, let me see, the end of Roots ended with, I couldn't even tell you. I think it ended with Reconstruction, probably, if you watch the whole documentary. So what this video is intended to do is to show people how a family moves forward. Because there was some tragedies. You know, my aunt lost her oldest son. We eventually lost my mom. And, well, prior to that, we lost her mom. Then we lost my mom, and then we lost my aunt. And we were supposed to come together tighter than what we were. But it was kind of like we had certain sections and cliques to the family that they shouldn't have been. Now, if you mess with one of us, we gonna come together. But we used to have like Sunday dinners at my aunt's house. that kind of stopped. Christmas time would be at my aunt. Like all the festivities and functions and stuff would be at my aunt's house. Because she was the party person. You heard it in the beginning. Shelby and Bonnie, getting ready to go out and meet Dot, and it was time to party. It was always a party at my aunt's house. She was just that type of person, and I appreciate her for showing me those values in regards to sometimes you just got to look past the things that you're going through and enjoy life. So we're going to, let me see, I'm trying to move a little forward here. All right. So, all right. So the next clip we're going to see is my aunt reminiscing over her sister, and then we'll get comments from Ambrielle in regards to the video. Well, that clip anyway. So, all right. So here we go.
I really can't say how I felt. I just remember seeing the sorrow in my family, like everyone around me. I think at that time I was too young to understand what death was, but for the most part, I saw my family members and what they were going through. And as a child, you catch on to those things. You know that something is wrong. And I may have tried to put it together and things like that. I may have even reacted in my own way. I'm sure that I asked questions. I'm sure that, my family told me that she passed away. But as a child, you just can't, you just don't understand it. You just don't. But I definitely do remember witnessing my family going through this hard time. She's truly missed.
I know when my Aunt Bonnie passed, it was a big thing, a big experience for my mom, because they were real close, and I know she lost her best friend. So that hurt my mom a lot, and it hurted me too.
Remember those romantic walks we used to take? You held my hand in such a way my knees would shake. You can't imagine just how much I've needed you. I've never loved someone as I've loved you. Oh, friend, it's so nice to feel you hold me again. No, it doesn't matter where you have been. My heart welcomes you back. Oh, friend, this is where our happy ending begins. Yes, I'm sure this time that we're gonna win. Welcome back into my life again. Yes, I've tried to live my life without you, knowing I had lost my closest friend. Though I fell in love from time to time, knowing I would never find the kind of love I had when you were mine. Oh, friend, it's so nice to feel you hold me again.
All right. So, you seen this, this clip about your grandmother. You wasn't around obviously when she was here and even during her passing. So, how did you watching this section of the video? How did that affect you? How did it make you feel, in other words?
Um, it made me feel like a lot of people really appreciated her. Really was like depressed when she passed away. You could see that she was well missed, and that she was a very great and to this family, that many, even people that probably was young when she was there, still really miss her. Even though even when she passed away, she still is missed and still is brought up. And she was like a big part of this family. You can tell the way that these people talk, the way that our family talks about them, about her. She was a big part of this family. So, and she's
Yeah, she was. Um, I think about now, some of the things I used to say, well, I say about my mom, she wasn't a great parent. I mean, she wasn't a great parent. But it's a difference between being a great parent and a great person. And that she obviously was. So, I wouldn't have named this foundation after her if I didn't believe that she had the values to want to help people. And she always did want to help people. Because from the comments that the people made, there were either something in regards to how they encouraged her, or how, clashy she was, comments like that. And I do feel privileged to be her son. Um, excuse me. Like my dad said, it was, you can see certain things in me that, she would have had, certain types of values and things like that. So that's why I always, teach my own kids about culture and education, because you have to just know where you're from. And then another reason is that you have to know who your family is. And sometimes when the matriarchs or the patriarchs die, the family kind of splits up. And then that's how sometimes you may have families dating each other, or certain cousins, or, things like that. I'm not sure how widely that happens, but I'm sure it happens. So we put this together because it wasn't just me, to help honor to help honor, these two ladies. So let's get back to the video here. So we're going to show probably like two more sections. I'm a comment on the next section, and then Ambriel will comment on the next one, and then we're going to wrap it up.
Like her house, to walking in places with her. We always have fun with her.
Silver gray hair, neatly combed in place. There were 4 generations of love on her face. She was so wise, no surprise past her eyes. She'd seen it all.
What I remember about my Aunt Barney is probably one of the last times that I seen her. I just remember I was probably at my grandmother's house, and I was young. I was really young at the time, and we were sitting on the couch, and she had her arm around me, and I was like laying in her hair. And I just remember that I was asking her a lot of questions. I don't remember about what and things like that, but I have a feeling, it's just a feeling that I had that, she was probably saying her goodbyes. Kids always get so curious when you start talking about heaven and things like that. And I feel like the last moments that I spent with her arm around me and me playing on her hair, I feel like she was really saying her goodbyes. And like, And I had a lot of questions for her. I just remember asking her a lot of questions.
Me and Mom Bonnie, we had a crazy relationship. We loved each other, but she always wanted to have the last word. I always wanted to have the last word, so we argued a lot. But I know deep down inside she loved me.
Now look at the camera and say it.
Hi, Grandma Bonnie, I love you so much.
Now one more time.
Not good. I miss the fun that those other kids had with Grandma Bonnie, and I miss her and I love her. And if she was still alive, I could be playing with her, but right now she's not here.
I think at that time doing the video, it was I could say it was hard for me to because we was kind of like focused on my mom and everything like that. So it was hard for me to try to get these pieces together. I think back then, if this was now, if now was back then, I'd probably be a mess. I'm trying my best to hold it together. So, but the people that you've seen express like their love, dedication, and how they felt about her, and both of them. You know what I mean? Hold on for a second. I'm trying to see. Here it is, right here. All right, man. So, both of them, like I was saying, they appreciated these two women, no matter what their setbacks were, and that's what I wanted the family to remember. That these two women existed, that they were here, their names, who they were, Bonnie, Shelby, Mamie, how that came about. In the documentary, I talked about how her oldest grandson used to call her main mommy, and then it went from there. Now, in the documentary, we never mentioned how my mom's nickname came about. So, my grandmother used to be a maid, for a white woman. So when she would bring my mom, who also looked white, the lady said that my mom looked like one of her dolls, Bonnie. So the lady, every time my mom would come, would call her Bonnie. So it just kind of stuck. Was it racist? Maybe. Because at that time, I don't think my grandmother should allow this woman to change her child's name to a doll that she owned. Because now putting that name on my mom was kind of like a symbolism that she owned her also. So you might be saying you out the woods with that one, but that's just how I feel about it. So let's get back to the documentary.
Shelva Jean Davidson to meet her sister, Ethel Lee Zachary. Wow, when my grandmother passed away, it was hard. My family took it hard. My grandmother was really like the rock that kept everybody together. She raised us. She raised me and my brothers and sisters and my cousins. It was her that was there. So when she passed away, everyone took it kind of hard. It was hard. That's really what I can say. Like, me and my brothers and sisters, tried to comfort each other as much as possible. But there's just no way to handle death. There's no good way to handle death, especially when you are close to someone like that. Especially when you look at this woman, my grandmother, as your mother or a mother figure. It was hard. It's pretty hard.
Around the time my aunt got sick, you know, the family was really trying to go up to see as much as possible. You know, even up until, you know, when she was really, really sick. And me and my wife would, you know, see her, you know, up at the nursing home and things like that there. But after she passed, it was like, you know, I lost like another item that was to a set. You know, being as though, you know, her and my mom were sisters. And it wasn't like she was exactly my mom, but it was, I guess you could say it was like the essence of my mom still being there. You know what I mean? So it was just as hurtful as, you know, me losing my mom, like, you know, like all over again. It was just rough. Like even the funeral was sad. It was, I mean, not sad like it was like a sad event, but it was just, you know, you could just tell like emotions was high in the air that day. The things that we remember about my aunt is just like all funny type stuff, like all funny situations and things like that. Like I can remember, you know, she would always just like bust on like me and my cousin or whatever like that did. Like I remember we would cut school and go to her house, and she would say, "Y'all gonna be the two dumbest kids in the school because y'all stay here more than y'all be in school." Or like with her, like one of her daughters, or with any of them, you know, she would always just tell them, you know, you should get ready for Hollywood because you got a lot of drama going on right now and things like that. I mean, she. What I said was true. She was the backbone to the family. I can't lie, because like I said, she held a lot of events at her home, a lot of functions. She pretty much raised her grandchildren. Um, when she passed, those kids was devastated, and so were her children. Uh, it had to come to a point where, you know, when we did do this video, I think a lot of people were in a place of grief and apologizing. You know, trying to get their last words off that they probably didn't have the opportunity to say to their mother or aunt or family member. I thought that everybody would have been excited to do this project, but I was wrong. And I'm not saying this with grief, because everybody has their reasons for, you know, not, you know, for the things that they do is what I'm trying to say. But I do challenge my family, the older ones here. So that's kind of like my generation, because Shelby and Bonnie is gone. They had another sibling, Phil. I'm sure he passed away. He was kind of like I guess a drifter. He kind of like popped in and out. You know, like a strange uncle. That's what he was. But as far as my generation, we are responsible for these other flowers so that they can propagate and blossom. But for them to propagate and blossom, we have to be the ones that nourish them to do that. And you can't give up. You really can't. Just like raising a plant, raising a child ain't easy. I mean, some people think that, hey, you give a plant some water and you set it under the sun, that's it. But that's not all it takes. You have to know how much water to, you know, to give the plant. When the sun comes up, you gotta know the science of planting. You gotta know the science of parenting. And just because we may not be related to each other, I mean, not related, but parents to other children, we should still be strong factors in those youth lives. Um, a lot of my family members do miss my mom and my aunt, and I can honestly say that I don't. I think a lot of them don't think that they match up to the type of women or that the type of person that they are. But you have to take those lessons that those two people gave us and make us better and help make generations better. Because, like I said, I started an organization that from one woman raising two children, I now help hundreds of kids. Just from her determination of teaching me that education is essential and culture is everything. And as you can see, my family has recorded and put together this published work so that our culture can live on. Because this video is being recorded to YouTube. So now anybody can watch this show and share on certain aspects of Shelby and Bonnie, Ethel and Shelva. From either tomorrow, a week from now, a month from now, 20 years from now, maybe 100 years from now. I mean, I don't know what'll happen 100 years from now. But can you just imagine? Because Roots, let me see something. When was Roots made? I ain't got time for all that. Alexa, when was the movie Roots released?
Here is an answer from an Alexa Answers contributor that I translated. The movie Roots premiered on January 23rd, 1977.
So that's 1977. Let's see. Amber was 2024, take away 1977.
$47.
So 47 years ago, and Alice Haley passed away. People can still look at the life and history of Alex Haley. From the birth of Kunta Kinte to him starting the proposal to write his book Roots. And this is the 12th year. This ain't the actual anniversary because it's not December. But December 25th will be the 12-year anniversary of Lily's Flowers. And 12 years ago, I never even thought I'd have a foundation helping kids. 12 years ago, I still need somebody to help me. But I do. Well, we do. Because it's not just about me. Because I put this foundation together so that we as a family can help people. And yeah, I ask y'all for money because I need money to help these other people out with. You know what I mean? So, but I never would have thought that I would be reviewing this movie, this documentary on a podcast beside my daughter. So you never know what, history will unfold to the next generation. But the one thing about history is that you have to do something important for it to be historic. Nobody's going to document the fact that you walked outside and you tripped and fell in the mud. Somebody in your family might remember that, but nobody's going to record that. I recorded the memories of the Davidson family. Let me walk that back. We, my family, recorded the memories of the Davidson family. regardless of how old you was or if you participated or not, because 40 years from now, Ambrielle's kids can watch this video, see their grandfather and their mother at 15, or Lily's Flowers and see their mom at 3. I don't have the opportunity to do that. And, I was telling a friend of mine, a lot of people don't even hang pictures on their wall. As you can see, I'm going to cut you off for a second. It's pictures on my wall. I'm not related to Michael Jackson, but that's my kids, though. And that's something that people nowadays, you don't see that. Everybody, all their pictures is on their phone. If you lose this phone, you lose everything. For some people, this is everything. So it's a great device to have, but your life should not be encapsulated in a cell phone. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this episode. I also want to thank my niece, Talia Travis, because if it wasn't for her, we wouldn't be able to have done this today. Because I lost this video. I was devastated. My computer crashed. The project was on there. I was done. So, but thanks to her, we had the opportunity to share this with you. So, hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll let Ambrielle close out with some remarks. Matter of fact, you'll be closing out, period. I won't be coming back.
Okay, well, that was great. And that was a great representation of our family. And I guess that's all for Urban Facts. Also, we have a documentary coming up, The Misdirection. It's coming really soon. I'm currently working on it. I'm the director of it with the help of my dad. And if you're looking to get interviewed about any of the topics, drugs, violence, and I don't really know the other one right now, but that have affected you personally, you can contact my dad. I'm sure his contact information is somewhere, but I'm doing a documentary. And yay! Okay, so that's all for tonight. Hope you all have a great night. And good night.